Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today I am here with wonderful, wonderful news if you're a fan of the Pokemon trading card game. And I'm here to answer a question that gets asked a lot, although my answer is not going to be believed by a lot of people, and is of course subject to change. What is the biggest trading card game in the world? And why is it Pokemon, not Magic? Now, as soon as I say that the Pokemon TCG is the biggest trading card game in the world, I will have an awful lot of people, probably some of you watching, please don't stop watching, you're watching my videos, I love you, that are going to go, it's Magic, it's blatantly Magic, and hopefully by now, if you're watching this channel, it might be your first video, if it's your first video, hello, not to everyone else, just to you, hello. Hope you stay, hope you're having a wonderful time, hope you're enjoying yourself. But hopefully you know by now that I don't come out when I talk about stuff like this, when I go into businessy topics, I'm not just chucking out rash numbers, I am coming here with the information. And to be fair, it is difficult to actually judge the biggest trading card game in the world. How do you judge it? You could judge it on player numbers, but how do you judge player numbers? Because, okay, fine, you can look at the number of people playing PTCGO, and you can look at the number of people playing Magic Arena. Those are the two official online clients. And maybe that gives you an answer. But then again, are we saying that every single Pokemon player plays on PTCGO and every single Magic player plays on Arena? Probably not. We could go and try and look at numbers in local game stores, but that would be difficult if it wasn't all cancelled because of the damn panic. So we can look at official tournament numbers. But firstly, official tournaments aren't really going on at the moment. And secondly, are official tournament numbers really a fair viewing? I mean, clearly your average Magic player is more likely to be a competitive player than your average Pokemon player. Pokemon skews more casually because Pokemon is played and collected by a lot of children, whereas Magic really is a proper game that is generally, and I know there are exceptions, but the player to collector ratio is much higher in Magic than it is in Pokemon because of the nature of the game, the target market, etc. So even if we could get good numbers in terms of players, that's probably not particularly fair because we don't know which players to judge, and even then there's going to be a whole bunch of people that play casually with their friends, play at their local game store, play over webcam, etc., that you're just not going to be able to find. So player numbers probably isn't the best way to try and decide the biggest trading card game in the world. Really, there is only one way to decide the biggest trading card game in the world. It's sales. And let me say straight off the bat, no, this is not a perfect way to measure it. Nor do we have perfect sales data. But I am telling you that trying to collect player numbers is nigh on impossible. And I'm telling you that sales numbers will give us an objective measurement for which game is selling the best. And if a game is selling more than others, it's probably the biggest trading card game, and you can make all kinds of other arguments and put all kinds of appendices in to change the result, and that's fine. If that's what you want to do, you go for it. But if we're trying to actually decide the biggest trading card game in the world, I think sales is the only sensible place to go here. And although we don't have perfect published numbers from all of the companies that make it, from the Pokemon Company International, from Wizards of the Coast that make Magic, from Konami that make Yu-Gi-Oh!, what we do have is the website ICV2.com. And what ICV2.com do is every 6 months, they go around and they try and make a list of the top games. Now, they don't actually just do top collectible games. They do lists of board games, card and dice games, non-collectible miniatures, etc. But for our purposes, we're looking at the top collectible games. And they publish this list every 6 months. And what's number one at the moment? It's Pokemon. Now, their full 2020 list, I don't believe, has actually been published at the moment. So we can look at their Spring 2020 list, i.e. the sales up to and including Spring 2020, and you'll notice that number one is Pokemon TCG. And obviously number 2 is Magic, and number 3 is Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! is a hard number 3. If you look at this list year after year after year, you essentially find that every single time Yu-Gi-Oh! Is going to be sitting there in third place. And that's not to say anything against Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh! Myself. I've been meaning for a long time to pick up the Switch game, which I know is not perfect, but it'll give me a pretty nice introduction. But unfortunately, they seem to have stopped printing that game, and yeah, the price of that game has like properly skyrocketed. Used to be able to pick it up very easily for 20 quid. Picking up a new box copy at the moment for less than 40 quid is really not particularly easy, which is a little bit sad. Which is why I haven't picked it up yet. But also, right, being third place perennially behind Pokemon and Magic, that's pretty good going. The thing is, it's not quite as straightforward as I'm making it out. Now, Pokemon is number one at the moment, right? Top 5 collectible games overall, with the best list and the best information we've got is definitely Pokemon. But you see, what ICV2 actually do, as well as presenting an overall list, is they actually break it down into the mass channel and the hobby channel. Now, if you look at the mass channel, it's Pokemon, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh! Nice and simply, but the mass channel is when you're looking at places like supermarkets, i.e. shops that cater to the mass market. But if you look at the hobby channel, we switch it round, and it's Magic 1, Pokemon 2, Yu-Gi-Oh! 3. And this is exactly what you would expect. I told you earlier on in the video that looking at competitive player numbers was not necessarily a great list, because Magic was always going to win, because Magic is a more competitive game than Pokemon, and to look at that would be to devalue the Pokemon collectors and the Pokemon really casual players and the kids that play but don't go to tournaments or don't play PTCGO, etc., which you would imagine is going to be higher, much higher than over in Magic. So if you go to a hobby shop, shops that cater specifically to nerds like me, then Magic is going to be number one with Pokemon number 2. If you go to the mass channel, Pokemon's going to be number 1, Magic's going to be number 2, and they are really easy predictions to make, right? If you think about it for even a moment, you're going to decide that Pokemon is going to sell better in places like supermarkets and big box stores, and we're going to end up seeing Magic selling better in hobby stores. So we need to go overall, and if we look overall, Pokemon is the number 1 TCG in the world. Now, this is an ever-changing list, so it's not necessarily going to stay this way forever. So if we go and have a look at the list from fall 2019, for instance, and we go straight to overall, because we know that the hobby channel is going to be Magic, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh! We know the mass channel is going to be Pokemon, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh! That ain't changing. In fall 2019, number 1 was Pokemon. So we've had kind of 2 lists in a row. Pokemon's number 1. Hey, Wassy, does that mean it's perennially number 1? Well, no. Because if we flick back to spring 2019, Magic was number 1. Again, the mass channel is always going to be Pokemon, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh! And the hobby channel is always going to be Magic, Pokemon. Keyforge? Yu-Gi-Oh! Yeah, there was a weird thing in spring 2019 when Keyforge launched, and I'm a huge fan of Keyforge. If you check out my other channel, Wassy Plays, oh man, I love me some Keyforge. Such a good game. Incidentally, Keyforge did not stay here. Keyforge dropped quite a bit down the list pretty quickly, which makes me sad given how amazing Keyforge is. Seriously, if you've not checked out Keyforge, go and buy 2 Keyforge decks, because it's completely sealed. There's no deck building. You just play the deck you get. You get a randomized deck and you play it. Go buy like 2 decks and play against one of your mates and you'll see what I mean about it being awesome. But there was this weird situation where in the hobby channel in spring 2019, Keyforge actually jumped ahead of Yu-Gi-Oh! It didn't last. It never was that high again, but that was kind of cool. It was number 4 overall. But the point I'm actually making, to go back to what we're talking about, in spring 2019, number 1 overall was actually Magic. So yes, at the moment, Pokemon is the biggest game in the world, and I'm sorry, but the best information we've got. And if anybody has got better information, if anyone has got more complete sales figures, if anyone's got access to other information, please, please, please let me know in the comment section or hit me up on Twitter at the Wassy, because I'm a business dude, right? And one of the things you learn in business very, very, very quickly, data. Data does not tell the story, data doesn't give you everything, but data should always be your starting point. Data is key. This is the best data I can find on sales figures for trading card games. If you think you've got better, you let me know, ladies and gentlemen. But the point is, at the moment, Pokemon's on a little bit of a run. And if you see what's been happening to Pokemon over the past few months and the demand that's been out there, I would be very surprised if Pokemon wasn't number one when the full 2020 list is published. Does that mean Pokemon will remain number one forever? No. Pokemon and Magic tend to flick back and forth. They are both superbly popular, extremely successful games that are probably going to remain successful for years and years to come. But if you look right now at a little bit of a snapshot, yes, Pokemon is the number one trading card game in the world, and if you want to try and argue otherwise, you're going to need to come and hit me with some data, ladies and gentlemen, and if you want to argue otherwise and hit me with some data, I would be delighted, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, but be nice, would ya? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.